Iniciamos con la sesión número 11. Vamos a recibir a Luis Sola, Comisionado Marítimo Federal. El comisionado Luis Sola dará un discurso sobre el rol de la Comisión Marítima Federal en Estados Unidos en el desarrollo GNL en América Latina y el Caribe, destacando también los avances en infraestructura y regulación.
Good morning. I always like to be the first one. So, thanks to GNL Global Conference, special thanks to Kenya Bravo, and I hope to see everybody in Peru next year. My name is Luis Sola. I am a Federal Maritime Commissioner of the United States. President Trump appointed me in 2019, and I was confirmed by the United States Senate. I was nominated again just last month by President Biden. Let that sink in for you that know political situations in the United States. A pro-Trump, pro-America was nominated by a Democrat. Before that, I was a Florida Port Commissioner for 4 years. I have family ties here in Panama. I'm a ship's captain. I crossed the Panama Canal more than 100 times. I have the keys to the canal. I hope I never lose them. And I'm the honorary lead pilot. During COVID, I led Fact Finding 30. That was the United States federal investigation of how the COVID pandemic affected the cruise industry, how we brought the cruise industry down to shut down, and then how we were able to get it back up again. It was quite a task at the time. Lately, one of the things that we've been working on is the sanctioned flagged vessels that are used to support terrorists around the world. I believe you've probably seen a lot of things in the news about that. But to get more to the point of why we're all here, I've been one of the top advocates for zero carbon emissions and alternate marine fuels, such as LNG. I called upon President Biden to start an alternate marine fuels coalition with support from Department of Energy and Department of Transportation. As we all know, since we're here, that LNG can reduce carbon emissions by 20 to 30% in comparisons to normal fossil fuels. LNG is, without question, going to be the maritime fuel of the future. The new builds that are on order right now, more than 50% of them are dual fueled that can take LNG. As part of my job, I get to meet global CEOs from around the world that wish to do business with the United States. And I'm very lucky to have the ability to ask them what keeps them up at night, what makes them worry. And what they tell me is they're worried about getting enough alternate fuels. In the United States, we only have 3 different locations for bunkering for these fuels. We can export 160,000 cubic meters, but we have trouble getting 5,000 cubic meters onto a ship for propulsion. So I think we could have a little bit of fun here. As you know, that in 20 days we have an election, so I wanted to talk a little bit what an America First agenda would look like towards LNG and what that would look like towards the maritime industry in first. So as far as the America First agenda, I'm probably the last man standing right now in government. That may change by the end of the year, but right now I'm the top trade advocate for that. So what we would have is we'd have expanded LNG facilities across all U.S. ports. We would have U.S. government subsidiaries for maritime fuels. And that would allow us to get to net carbon zero. Let me explain. We've already done that a couple times. So what we do is we'll take a traditional LNG, we'll mix it with a bio-LNG, and then what we get is a carbon score of 0. So we can basically get to net carbon zero. We have done this, and we can do this, but the only way we're going to do that is with government subsidiaries. The problem that we have is that LNG at this time, the bio-LNG is 10 times the amount as regular LNG. So when we mix it, we're just not commercially able yet. We can do it in a laboratory, we can do it in test runs, but we can't do it a lot. So for what I see is we're going to have, let's call them mixing facilities that I think that are going to come on in infrastructure that's going to be started in the United States because we're going to have government funding. But once these become more commercially viable, I believe that they're going to go to all sorts of maritime hubs, such as here. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciated being here, and I hope to see you all in Peru next year.